this season, there's been a few massive game weeks that kind of shown who's the favorite for this title, right? We've had the first few game weeks where Liverpool would keep winning, and we equalized 1-1, but Liverpool won with a late winner, and it looked like, you know what, Liverpool might run away with this after 15 for 15. Then you look at them losing late to an Nketiah goal because of Crystal Palace, and us with a last minute winner with Gabriel away at Newcastle. I believe that was in the same week, if I'm remembering it correctly. And we've had a few with City after that, right? We've had a few with City, but this one feels like the biggest, the strongest, the most important game week we've probably had, or I've had as a fan since maybe when we won the FA Cup. I think in terms of actually getting over the line, this game week, putting us 9 points clear, of course, with the game in hand and having to go to the Etihad. At worst, after those two games that City play, it will be 3 points clear with 7 games left. And City in a run of form that looks like they could continue dropping points. They have Chelsea away next, and I know Chelsea lost to Newcastle at home today, but after they inevitably get knocked out by PSG, it's going to be tough. And just like with Chelsea and PSG, as when Real Madrid inevitably go through and beat Man City, City's whole fate this season in terms of trophies will come down to two games against us, one at the Etihad and one in the Carabao Cup final at Wembley, and then the FA Cup, which you never know what happens. That's a game at the Etihad against Liverpool. So right now, their season kind of looks like it's coming down to 3 games when you consider that Real Madrid against Real Madrid in the Champions League, they're as well as out. It's a massive, massive swing in the title race, and I think, if I'm being honest, I think it's so close. We have one hand on it. They play Chelsea away next. We'll see what happens. But we need to keep winning. A few more wins before that. I think if we just keep winning until that Etihad game, I think that Etihad game might not matter as much as it looked like it was going to matter just a few weeks ago after our bad run of form. I think that Carabao Cup final is another one where if we win that Carabao Cup final, I think I'd be ready to say something that I haven't been able to fully say this season. I have been able to say we're going to win, and I will continue to say we're going to win, but I haven't been able to say the words that it's done. I haven't been able to say that yet. I think if we go to if we keep winning and City drop points again against Chelsea, which I expect, and then we go to the Carabao Cup final and win, I think it's done. But it's not done yet. I think we're close. We're almost there. But it's not done yet. And why are we almost there? Why are we so close? You have to put that down to Max Dowman. I mean, we look at the Arsenal game. Everton, always been a tough game. Moyes, actually. It's not really about Everton. It's about anytime you play Moyes or Sean Dyche. Those two managers, I'm worried. Because I know that Dyche and Moyes just have a tendency to pick up points against us. I don't know what it is, but no matter who's in our team, no matter how many players we have in our team that are top quality compared to them, I feel like Moyes and Sean Dyche have always had something against us. West Ham consistently, until Moyes left, were like a bogey team to us. Then Everton, ever since Moyes joined, has been a bogey team to us. And before that, it was Sean Dyche, who was in charge of Everton. That was kind of like a bogey team. And before that, when he was in charge of Burnley, back when we were fighting for top 4 and that type of stuff, it always felt like they were a bogey team against us as well. So those two managers, I always fear for the worst. But we go into it, and just as expected, it's cagey, it's tight. I think that first 45 minutes, as expected, with Calafiori and Saliba playing, so we have 2 build-up specialists, I would say, in terms of playing the ball forward and being progressive. we look so much better in terms of progression. Then you look at Madueke on the left, Eze down the middle, Saka on the right, and Havertz up top. That front four, beautiful, beautiful. I hope that we can keep those front four fit, especially Havertz, and play them more and more throughout the season, because we will win games because those four together, they just look so good, so threatening. Martinelli off the bench, Trossard off the bench, hopefully Odegaard off the bench. And I don't think Moreno will ever be fit again this season, but in long term, Moreno off the bench. I think those players off the bench would be key, but that starting from four, Gyökeres off the bench as well, sorry, but that starting from four, they performed in a way that they played really, really well. And against any other team, I think we would be 2-3 up. But of course, Moyes' Everton, these guys fight hard. They're dogged, right? They're real dogs. And so it was a tough game. And it looked like around the 70th minute or so, after the great first half we had where we left 0-0, I was worried. And those worries came to be true, because around the 70th minute or so, it looked like it was going to peter out. It looked like, okay, you know what? It looked like it was done. It looked like Saka started to become tired. It looked like Eze was trying stuff, and I'm grateful that he is trying stuff. That's what we need from him. But it looked like Madueke's effectiveness wore off, which is why he got subbed off, and same Havertz probably can't play a full 90. But then Martinelli and Gyökeres came on and didn't really impact the game that like I wanted them to. We were playing against a low block. These are two runners. I didn't really feel like those substitutions were necessary. They kind of were in the second half. They kind of made it a more cagey affair where they're, sitting in a block. Martinelli and Gyökeres don't really suit that game state. So I was worried. And they come 75th minute, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, this might end 0-0. This is going to end a draw, and that's bad. And I was worried. But on comes the hero. And I don't want to overhype and underhype other players. I think Calafiori was amazing today, and he impacted our game so much. I think Saliba was trying, and I think the way he was progressing the ball, he was good. Timber, for the 30 minutes he played, was good. Unfortunately, he had to come off, I think, as a precaution. Hopefully he's fit, especially for that cup final in Leverkusen. Mosquera, ever since he came on, was pretty good. I think Zubimendi, good. Rice really, really good, but Zubimendi solid, pretty good, closer to his first half of the season stage. Madueke threat. Eze, I thought this is the first game in an Arsenal shirt, besides Spurs games, I've seen him actually go at it in the game. Shots on shots, trying stuff. Playing a nice ball to Havertz, playing a nice ball here off the left to Martinelli, etc., etc. Shots, long shots, good chances, etc. Although half chances, I felt like he was trying. And this was the first game I really saw him, beside the Spurs games, try to that level and actually take over the game. But unfortunately, it didn't seem like it was meant to be. It didn't seem like anything it was fully working, and that happens sometimes. Turkey can go through a game, or even not even Turkey, because I wouldn't compare Eze, and I wouldn't want Eze to look up to Turkey. Let's say De Bruyne. There are games where De Bruyne will try and it just won't work. That happens with Neymar, that happens with Messi, that happens with everyone. And just felt like it was one of those games for Eze. Magic Man just doesn't work. But I was happy that he tried. Saka, it looked like he played amazing for the first 45, and then he started to peter off a little bit in the second half, and it looked like he was getting tired, and it looked like, okay, you know what, this is going to be a 0-0. And then on comes Magic Man Max Dowman. I think we've heard about him. I've heard about him since I think he was 14, which is very, very weird and very odd. But we've heard about him, clips of him ripping it up in the academy, training with the first team, etc., etc. This guy, when Noneri was coming through last season, the season before, we were looking at it like, no, Dowman is like the prodigy of all prodigies, right? This is, if you're looking at Saka as a superstar talent, Noneri as a superstar talent, you're looking at Dowman as the level above that, a talent that people are hailing him to the top tier talents. That is what was being said about this guy. And obviously, we've seen it throughout the season in glimpses. We saw it as recently as Mansfield, or sorry, I think it's Mansfield. We saw it as recently as then where he ran the game, right? And he was the biggest threat that game, even though he's just 16. But he comes on today, and it was a spark. You could feel the fans. They kind of, the excitement came back to the stadium. It was nerves, and then it became excitement. Anytime he got the ball, we were excited. It felt like everyone was excited to see what this guy could do. And then boom, he comes. He gets a little bit of space, and of course that won't happen with him every Prem game. He won't have that much space or that much time on the ball. But when he does have that time, when he finds that space, which he can do, he whips in a beautiful cross, and of course Pickford misses it. But I think that's in part because of, first of all, how good the ball is, but second of all, how much powerful the ball is. I think he tries to get a finger on it, but then it's too powerful, so it just goes through. Pickford mistakes, yes, but Dowman, beautiful ball, hits Nketiah, and just rolls to Gyökeres. Gyökeres tap in 1-0. And I thought, what a way, especially now that the City game happened and it's 1-1. You look back at that Dowman moment and think, wow, for a 16-year-old to come in the middle of a title race and essentially give us one of the biggest wins of the season when you look at the context of the pressure, the time of the winner, the result of the rival, etc., and what that means for the last 7 games of the Premier League. I think this is one of the biggest moments. I think the biggest moment we had, and for it to come to a 16-year-old, man, insane. And then obviously, just to cap it off, Martinelli, they whip in a corner, and of course I'm nervous because of what's been happening against Wolves and Brentford, where, and Sunderland and all these games where we'll score, we'll concede an equalizer. I'm worried. And luckily, we get it out. Martinelli heads it to Dowman. Dowman sees 2, heads it past the first one, then sneaks past the second one, and then runs, and then passes it into an open goal to become the youngest Premier League goal scorer ever. What a night, what a day, and I think so special for him, so special for us. And if what happens in May happens, what deserves to happen in May, what should happen in May after these 2 results happens, that moment, on top of the Gabriel Newcastle, on top of the Saka Brighton, I think it was, on top of the many other Eze against both Spurs, on top of the various moments that have happened this season in the Prem, that moment might stand right at the top. Max Dowman, what a kid, and to think it's just the start.